Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our session today on herbs and spices. I'm Sarah Sims, Southern University Ag Center nutrition educator, Madison and Richland Parish. And today we are presenting cooking with herbs and spices. Using herbs and spices is a great way to reduce salt, sugar, and fat in your diet while adding bold new flavors. It is a good idea to plan your meals before going to the grocery store so that you know which herbs and spices you will need. Herbs and spices have been used for hundreds of years in cooking and in medicine. They add a range of flavor to the food and may provide health benefits. Using herbs and spices in cooking may also help you to prepare flavorful and healthy recipes. Herbs and spices have been around for a while. The difference between an herb and a spice is simply depends on the part that it comes from. Now, you may find your herbs in different places. You may purchase them in the grocery store, or you may grow them yourselves, or you may purchase them at the farmer's market. They will add tremendous flavor to your food and make it extraordinary. So, what is the difference between an herb and a spice? That's a big question. Well, the difference between herbs and spices is that it's simple. Uh, the part of the plant that is used is the herb. Herbs come from the leaves of the plant that do not have the woody stems and grow close to the ground in mild climates. Your spices are native to warm tropical climates and are obtained from the roots, flowers, fruit, seeds, or the bark. Now, spices tend to have a strong and a more potent flavor than herbs, so you don't need to use very much of them when preparing your foods. Certain herbs pair better with certain foods. Uh, so why don't you just be brave and experiment on your own? But you have that question: should I use fresh herbs, or should I shouldn't I use fresh herb? Well, the answer to that is yours. It's completely up to you. It's your choice. But I would like to stress that you remember that fresh herbs are not equal to dry herbs in terms of amount that should be added. A tablespoon of finely cut fresh herb is equal to 1 teaspoon of dried herbs, or 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of ground herbs. Fresh herbs must be stored differently to ensure their freshness. Dry herbs, when choosing dry herbs, you want to make sure that you don't choose the ones that are brown or wilted. Uh, Basil, cilantro, dill, oregano, thyme, and many more need to be stored in the refrigerator. They will stay fresh for 2 to 3 weeks, although some of the flavor and the aroma will be lost after the first week. They must be stored in water in the refrigerator and changed. The water needs to be changed from time to time. And to preserve herbs for an extended period of time, you can freeze them. To freeze them, you simply place them on a cutting cookie sheet or some flat surface and put them in the freezer and let them freeze. After they're frozen, you remove them and put them in an airtight container and put them back in the refrigerator and use them as needed. But remember, frozen herbs are limp when thawed, so it's best to use those in cooked dishes. Dry herbs and spices never actually spoil, but their flavor and aroma will fade over time. They should be stored again in cool, dry places and in tight containers and away from the heat. When cooking, you need to keep the container away from the steamy pots to avoid exposure to moisture. Herbs that come in large flakes, such as parsley, basil, and oregano, will remain fresh from 1 to 3 years. Ground spices such as paprika, Cinnamon, nutmeg can be kept for 2 to 3 years. And your cinnamon sticks, peppercorns, and any other whole spice can be used for up to 5 years. Now, I want you to take note whenever you select your herbs or your spices, make sure you put the date on the container that you purchased them. Also, read the labels on the container because there's a lot of good information there. So, that question of what can I use this with or where can I use it, all of that is on that little packet. So, be sure to pay attention to that. And of course, there's also an expiration date on the container. So, be sure to do that, to look at that before purchasing your herbs. And cooking spices, I want you to remember that delicate herbs such as basil, chives should be added just before serving because their flavors can be lost during the cooking time and the cooking process. Herbs are less delicate, such as oregano and thyme, can be added early in the process. The flavors of red pepper, which gets stronger as it is cooked. Cayenne pepper should be added in small amount, about an eighth of a teaspoon at a time to begin with. Then you can increase it as needed. Always use small amounts to start off when adding spices and herbs. Always just start off with a little bit and you can always add because if you start off with a lot, you can't take it out, it's in there. And when adding herbs and spices to foods that are to be refrigerated or served cold, it is important to refrigerate the food for a few hours to ensure that the flavors of the spices and the seasoning is well absorbed. Now, of course, we have a lot of things that we can do with the herbs. And one great thing is that herbs are beneficial. They are beneficial. Herbs and spices are beneficial. Herbs and spices are not necessarily the center of my plate, but they pack a surprisingly big nutrition punch. In fact, herbs and spices can be regarded as the first functional food because they have been grown and cultivated for thousands of years, as far back as 5000 BC. And they have a long history of medicinal uses. Now, researchers are beginning to prove that these culinary treasures are helpful for consumers to eat healthier diets by adding flavor without calories, fat, or sugar, and by providing healthy antioxidants. So, my challenge to you is to go on and let's try. Let's get on board. Let's savor the flavor and let's reap the rewards. Remember, herbs, including basil, parsley, are from plants and plant parts. Spices come from the seeds, the berries, the roots of plant. Common herbs and spices may help protect against certain chronic conditions such as cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. And seasoning your foods with herbs and spices will help decrease the amount of salt, fat, sugar if used in place of other flavor boosters. So there you have it. Let's get a big benefits. So add your herbs and spices today. I want to thank you all uh, for joining us today. And I'd like to invite you all to please take a couple minutes to complete the session's evaluation forms for us at the end of this session. And again, thank you for your input. And if you have any questions, please contact us at www.agcenter.com or www.suagnutrition.com. Again, I'm Sarah Sims, Southern University Ag Center Nutrition Educator, Madison and Richland Parish. Thank you and have a great day.